Here's a little something about me. I went into the military. Wanted to be an underwater demolition technician in the Navy, and they didn't let me in. So I was in great physical shape. I'd been running, swimming, been a lifeguard in Bushton, Illinois all summer long. So I was in great shape to do the swimming and do the running and do everything I needed. So they said I had a chance if I went into the Navy Corps School, Medical Corps School, and applied to be in a recon. They took like 1 out of 100, 1 out of 200. I might make it. And yeah, that's what I did. I got into Marine Corps recon. First recon, 2 years over there. Yep. There I, there I was amazed. And one of the people I worked with that summer, she was a lifeguard with me. She was from Fullerton, California. She took my first big rock and roll show in California, in Los Angeles, at the Coliseum. Saw Alley Oop, the group that does Alley Oop, and the guys that did Stranded in the Jungle, which was big for me because that was the first record I bought was Hollywood Rock and Roll, was Stranded in the Jungle. Went through Navy boot camp, and then, after that I reported for duty, and there I was. Next thing you know, I was on a Greyhound bus going back and forth to Hollywood and back and forth to Los Angeles. Got to know LA real well. I hitchhiked, I took the bus, I stayed in the Hotel Cecil, which is downtown Pershing Square, and I was watching guys. They had all these people on stands, and they were like communists and socialists and anarchists, and they were just like everybody had something to say, and they were just like going on and on and on and on. And then I met a street singer called Brother Christopher. I sang songs with him, Hollywood and Vine. And I met another guy who was a sandal maker, and he sang songs, played banjo, lived with Pete Seeger. Next thing you know, I was amazed. Songs I'd heard my dad sing, these guys were out there singing them, but they were very commercial. It was like the New Christy Minstrels, and there was the Brothers Four, the Kingston Trio, things like that. And then you had this other group of people who was kind of just like living like they were like hillbillies up in the mountains, kind of like Dad was. Dad lived in Seaton, and Granddad had to bring him into life. And my granddad cut the umbilical cord and just wrapped it around his finger and put it into Dad. I always remember Dad had the largest belly button I'd always seen in my life. But he knew all those old Carter family songs. Yeah, taught them to me. And I was amazed. I'd go out there and people were singing Wildwood Flower. You sing Lula Walls. Well, he didn't sing too much Lula Walls. Dad sang Lula Walls. Sang a lot of stuff. So then I got orders to go to Okinawa. First to the scuba school and then to the Philippines. And then after that, why, hey, I was sent to Vietnam. And boy, oh boy, that was something else because I was a medical corpsman, so I had to take care of the Vietnamese, North Vietnamese, South Vietnamese, Viet Cong, and the Americans. So we'd get in these firefights, and I took care of all the wounded. Took care of them. Well, hey, you know what? I took care of everybody. I never got any rest and relaxation. Never got sent to any like exotic ports or anything else. As a matter of fact, my life was just kind of continuously going on patrol. And the only time I got any free time at all was to go back to the Philippines and train other recon guys in guerrilla warfare. So it was just one day too much for me. I just broke down. I was never the same. I kind of lost my whole mind over there. Before that, I'd stayed in Hollywood and I wrote scripts and wanted to be a theater person. I'd written the scripts in the spring show in Bushnell. Wanted to stay in Hollywood and write scripts and maybe even get some parts in movies. I was going good. My girlfriend, she lived next to Jerry Lewis, the comedian, and I was meeting people right and left. But after the war, I couldn't do anything. I was just kind of in a locked up psychiatric hospital, Oakland, California. And that's how I got to San Francisco, really. I'd been in San Francisco before they sent me off. I'd flown out of San Francisco, but it wasn't lasting. Los Angeles was for me the big thing. LA and the way people lived in LA, and they like lived on the beach, and it was all sunny, and people sang songs and stayed up at night and talked about music and read books, and man, it was great. Jazz. I got introduced to John Coltrane and a whole bunch of Sonny Stitt and a whole bunch of whole bunch of stuff. See, before I went into the military, even as a kid in Bushnell, I was listening to Ahmad Jamal, and my mother loved Jonah Jones, so I was familiar with Jonah Jones records, Ahmad Jamal music, And then, when I got to California, the whole world opened up. Of course, Shelly Manne, I loved Shelly Manne and all the music that he put out. But I got to San Francisco, and next thing you know, there I was, San Francisco. And that was San Francisco before the hippies. In those days, it was still beatniks. So I got to San Francisco when there were still beatniks. And man alive, it was something else. It was so vibrant. And there was so much music, and people were just so alive. And I'd just come out of the Vietnam War where there was nothing but death and destruction. And you had to kind of be half deadened to go through it because you couldn't really feel anything. You couldn't like care for anybody that much. I mean, I cared for the guys I was with, and I cared for the people I had to take care of. But there was a certain level of just plodding along in Vietnam, going through all this, that just numbed the person out, really. And I wasn't numb anymore. I was kind of had a vibrancy, even though I'd had this nervous breakdown, even though I was given all these medications, which I later had to just give up because my hands were all cupped. I had stelazine and thorazine, and, I was in bad psychiatric shape. And I realized I wasn't going to get kind of clear or get to the next place if I kept taking all these psychiatric medications over and over. So there I was, San Francisco, 1966. And got on a Greyhound bus and came to Connecticut. Thought I might live in Connecticut. Was in love with a girl out here. We didn't get together. And I went back to San Francisco.